Shalawam. I just want to start by saying, Shalawam YAHAWAH Bahasham YAHAWASHI Bahasham Rakakadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and citations to all for elect and the Akim spread of truth throughout the four corners of this earth. My name is Shalawam. And tonight, I just want to talk about what moves me, And when you go into that word move, it means to set in motion or make progress. So what sets me in motion, what progresses me, and one thing that sets me in motion and progresses me is the faith, the faith in the Lord. That's what sets me in motion, to get up and want to read, to get up and go to the highways and byways, to get up and study and to find out the parables, to find out the breakdowns, And I was reading Bel and the Dragon, and Daniel portrayed that confidence, and that's synonymous with faith. It's a synonym for faith, and so I just wanted to read Bel and the Dragon, and I have a couple precepts to go along with it, so hopefully this is edifying. Let me start out in Proverbs 3 and verse 26. It says, "For the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken." The Lord, our confidence is in the Lord. We trust in him. We have faith in the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI, and we not gonna be taken, man. Like we not gonna be caught in the trap, so to say. So the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI is our security, man. He is our keeper. So let's get right into Bel and the Dragon. This is chapter 1. It says, "And King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king, and was honored above all his friends. Now the Babylons," supposed to be Babylonians, Salakia. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour, and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And that's a great substance, to offer up to your idol. And the verse 4, "And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own power, worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, Why dost thou not worship Bel?" Verse 5, "Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living power, the living God, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and have sovereignty over all flesh." And let me just grab a precept for that. Psalms 135, and let me start at verse 15. It says, "The idols of the heathen are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. They have eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Neither is there any breath in their mouths. They that make them are like unto them, so is everyone that trusteth in them." So these idols, are the works of man's hands, man. And they have mouths, but they don't speak, Eyes they have, but they don't see. They have ears, but, they don't hear when you call upon them. They ain't listening to your ass. Neither is there any breath in their mouths, man. And it says, they that make them are like unto them, so is everyone that trusteth in them. They that make them are like unto them, man. You're dead. Because the idol's dead, man. It doesn't move, doesn't breathe, doesn't have eyes to see, ears to hear. So everyone that trusteth in them is dead. So going back to this Bel and the dragon, verse 5, who answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living power, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and have sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Bel is a living power, is a living God, seeing thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything, and so this is my second time reading this, but as I was reading it, I was getting a sense that Daniel had that confidence, man. He's sitting there, conversing with the king, sitting there, smiling, chuckling, like, hey man, be not deceived. This is but clay with on the inside and brass without. This thing don't eat. And so and to have that boldness, to stand before the king and say that, man. The Lord is dealing with Daniel. And I just want to grab another precept real quick. Proverbs 28:1, it says, the wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion. So, and when you go into that word bold, it means or the synonyms that are with it is brave, confident, strong. So Daniel is standing confident, letting the king know, like, you are deceived, man. Your idol, it doesn't eat nor does it drink. And he's sitting here smiling at the king, like, you sitting here deceived. So going back, this is verse 8. So the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, if ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if you can certify me that Bel devoureth them, then Daniel shall die, for he hath spoken blasphemy against Bel. And Daniel said unto the king, let it be according to that word. And having that confidence in the Lord, man. Like, Daniel finna show you why Bel is an idol. Finna show you why these things, these expenses, your idol's not eating them, not consuming them, man. Now this is verse 10 says, now the priest of Bel were 70, which is 70, because the score is 20. So now the priests of Bel were 70, besides their wives and children, and the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. So Bel's priest said, lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine and shut the door fast and seal it with thy own signet. So the priest let the king know, hey, we finna leave, but get that food ready. Get all your substance ready, for this idol, and shut the door and put your seal on it. Verse 12, and tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Bel hath eaten eaten up all, we shall suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So the priests, regardless, they wasn't worried about it. You know why? Because they had made a little back door, a little trap door, under the table, where when when the doors were closed, they would go up and with their families and children, consume that food. Like I said, it was a big substance of food. So you bring in, your 70 priests and your family and children, like, they finna have a ball every night. Verse 14. So when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Baal. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strode throughout all the temple, and the priests of the king in the Salakia. I'm gonna just reread that again. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. So Daniel, using that wisdom, he commanded the servants to, go grab them ashes, and spread it throughout all the temple, man. So you can know who's, who's consuming this food. Verse 15. Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all in the morning. But time the king arose, and Daniel with him, and said, and the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yeah, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Baal, and with thee is no deceit at all. Then laughed Daniel, and held the king that he should not go in, and said, Behold, now the pavement and mark, well, whose footsteps are these? So while the king's sitting there giving praises to Baal, Daniel's sitting there. Daniel laughed at his ass, man. Like, little do you know, and he prevented the king from going in and said, Hey, look at the pavement, man. Whose footsteps are these? Verse 20. And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And the king was very angry, and took the priests with their wives and children, and took the priests with their wives and children, who showed him the privy doors, where they came in and consumed such things as were upon the table. Wherefore the king slew them, and delivered Baal into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. Verse 23 says, And in that same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worship. And the king said unto Daniel, Wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst not say that he is no living God, therefore worship him. Then said Daniel unto the king, I will worship the Lord YAHAWAH Bahasham YAHAWASHI, my power, for he is the living power. Knowing that Lord YAHAWAH Bahasham YAHAWASHI is a jealous power, man. And we can hit that in that Exodus 20:5. It says, Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation that hateth me. Says that we shouldn't, we shouldn't bow down and serve these idols, man. Serve these graven images. Why? Because the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI is a jealous power. So Daniel held strong, in not giving in to serving the Lord. Verse 26, but give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair and did seeth them together and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in sunder. And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship. So Daniel, he made a concoction. It kind of, reading it kind of like reminds me of like a C4, or like a dynamite, and put it in the dragon's mouth, and the dragon burst asunder. And Daniel let the king know, like, these are the gods you worship, man. Verse 28, and when they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, the king is become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Baal, he hath slain the dragon, and put the priest to death. And it was all through the works of Daniel. Daniel revealed that Baal didn't breathe, didn't eat, drink. It was a priest that was taking advantage of the king's substance. And Daniel had showed that the dragon is nothing but an idol, man. Can't fend for himself. Verse 29, so they came to the king and said, deliver us Daniel, or else we will destroy thee in thine house. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel onto them. And the king had no choice. The king did have a choice, but the people was pressing him, man. Probably camping and staking outside his place, man. Verse 31, who cast him in a lion's den, where he was 6 days. And in the den were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which when were not given to them to the intent they might devour Daniel. So every day they made sure these lions were given 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, man. These 7 lions, but as soon as they, as soon as they received word that Daniel, was going into the lions, then, they stopped giving it to him, to the intent that, they was going to snack on Daniel. They wouldn't see Daniel again. Verse 33, now there was in Jewry, a prophet named Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl, and was going to the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI said unto Habakkuk, go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the lion's den. Now this part is so raw to me, man, because it shows you how the Lord works, man. The Lord, he sent forth his angel to another prophet, to come feed Daniel, And, Habakkuk said, I don't know where Babylon is, nor do I know where this den is, And so the angel, I'm going to reread 36 again. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. Now, when you go into that word vehemency, it goes into that word vehement, which means forceful or powerful, So, when I was reading this, it kind of put that picture in my head. If brothers is familiar with the little Marvel universe, of when the Ancient One pushed Doctor Strange spirit out, and the spirit was traveling, all through space, all forcefully, or being in the Thor, them Thor movies, where they have that gate, where you put the device in it and you just, you forcefully travel, So it said, through the vehemency of his spirit, set him in Babylon over the den. So it's like he teleported, And Habakkuk cried, saying, "Oh, Daniel, take the dinner which the Most High hath sent thee." And Daniel said, "Thou hast remembered me, O Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI. Neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee." So Daniel, Daniel said that thou hast remembered me, man. Neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So I'm gonna grab this Sirach. I'm gonna grab this Sirach 2:10. It says, "Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?" And we just read the count of Daniel being in that lion's den. And what did he say? "Thou hast remembered me." You have not left me forsaken. Roughly paraphrasing. Neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee. So so going back to that Sirach 2. That Sirach 2, it says, "Look at the generations of old and see, did any trust in the Lord?" And when you go into that word trust, on the etymology online, it means religious faith, man. Did any have that faith in the Lord and was confounded? Did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? And the answer is none. And Daniel being a great example of that. So what sets me in motion, it gives me that or has me make that progress, is looking at the generations of old, looking at our ancient forefathers, man, and seeing that, they put their trust, they put their 100% trust in the Lord, in situations where they could not deliver themselves out of. They put their trust in the Lord, and the Lord kept them. The Lord kept their foot from being taken. Kept them from falling in that trap, man. So going back to this Bell and the Dragon, let me just finish it out. It says, "So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately." Through the vehemency of his spirit, teleported him back to, where he was. Upon the 7th day, the king went to bewail Daniel, and when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art thou, Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI, power of Daniel, and there is none else besides thee. And he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destructions into the den, and they were devoured in the moment before his face. You know, so them lions, them 6 days, you know, that the lions was in there, them lions didn't eat. You know, the prophet Habakkuk came and fed Daniel. You know, and then when Daniel was released, you know, they threw the people that, you know, plotted on Daniel's downfall in the lion's den, and they got tore up, man. You know, devoured in a moment before his face, man. So them lions, you know, tore their ass up, man. You know, so when I was reading this, it just kind of reminded me of the faith, you know, the confidence, you know, that, you know, you put your faith and confidence in the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI, you know, and he's going to provide, you know, he's going to keep thee from falling, man. You know, he's going to keep thee from being taken, you know, and that's what, like I said, that's what sets me in motion. And I had a few more scriptures I wanted to just grab before I had ended it. You know, Philippians 4:13, you know, and that says, I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengtheneth me. You know, you know, so you know, Lord's will, you know, if it's a part of Lord's will, you know, we can do, you know, we could do anything, you know, because it's you know, Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI, you know, that gives us our strength, man. Let me see. Hebrews 13:6, it says, so that we may boldly say, the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. You know, saying that with confidence, man, because like I said, you go into that word bold, you know, and the synonyms for it is brave, confident, strong, man. So saying that confidently and believing that, you know, that the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI is my helper, you know, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. You know, so us doing what, you know, doing what we have to do sincerely, you know, doing it entirely, you know, giving it our all, you know, the Lord, us putting our faith in the Lord Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI, you know, the Lord is going to be our helper. You know, the Lord's going to be our security, you know. So hopefully that was edifying. You know, I just want to end it up by saying, Shalawam Yahawah Bahasham YAHAWASHI Bahasham Kakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. Peace and salutations to all elect and the Akim spreading this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.